Hello guys, and welcome back to the woods with me. And I'm here today to start collecting some material and getting it centralized so I can start the build pretty soon on my new bushcraft shelter stroke survival shelter. um if you've seen my last build, I'm going to build something along that lines, but I'm going to try and keep headroom along the length of it. So it's not going to be overly big again, but it's just going to give me a little bit more comfort when I do my overnighters. Incidentally, that shelter's still up. I did visit it with the kids, and yeah, it's still in good condition, and it's waiting for me to go down and do another overnighter before winter kicks in. But getting back to this location, I've got a tarp up because we had torrential rain down here in North Cornwall yesterday, and there's still a fair chance we're going to get those heavy showers today. So I've put a tarp up so I can scamper underneath. I'm not here to be miserable and get soaking wet, so I've got somewhere just to get out of it, in between me finding the materials. I'm going to have to go out into the surrounding area to get the materials. Where I've chosen to build, there seems to be a little bit of a pocket where there's not much wind-blown stuff, and what is wind-blown is too big. I've only brought lightweight tools. The bushcraft knife I forged myself. I've got a folding saw, and I've got a very small hatchet. You'll see those in a moment. I don't intend to be doing a lot of chopping and a lot of processing because, quite simply, it's a Sunday. These woods aren't used at all, but any chopping noises will resonate throughout the whole of the woodland. And it's a Sunday, there could be people in the vicinity, if not in this woodland. And it's surprising how sound travels, particularly chopping noises. So I'm going to keep that for a weekday, but we're going to get the material into this location. So I'm going to finish this and we'll start cracking on in a moment. So this is all the tools or equipment I've brought with me. I'll just run through it. This is the cheap hatchet I bought from a hardware store, and I've brought it back to give me something which is more like a woodland forest axe, and it feels nice to use now. Basically a folding saw. And my bushcraft knife is made from a horseshoe. I forged it myself. It's possibly a bit heavier than what you'd want for a knife. It's almost like a mini machete, really. But I've brought some strops that these here are for, like, so I can carry the lengths of well, wood or timber back into this location. So that's it, guys, just as simple as that. This is actually a fair bit of graft, and I'm trying to do it as smart as I can, but you can't get away from it. You are hauling or dragging a fair bit of weight. But I'll let you have a look what I got so far, and we'll have a little bit of a chat about how I make it easier for myself versus what you might see on some channels where people are actually physically carrying it over the shoulder, dragging it by hand and everything like that. So we'll have a little discussion about the mechanics of this, but ultimately it's hard graft, and you have to be careful you don't cause yourself an injury doing this, because well, for me here it's a bit of a walk out, or if I had to call for assistance, yeah, it would be a little bit challenging for them to get to me. So I've got 10 pieces here so far, and I'm getting to about what I want to create the frame or framework. What I'm going to do then, I'll worry about packing the walls out with the smaller bits at the time. I just want to get everything here that I can actually build the structure, the framework. You can see here, it's rotted there, and as you look up, you'll clearly see it's beginning, the bark's coming off, it's covered in moss. And there's nothing coming out like leaves or branches supporting any life. This here is standing dead. Yeah, there's one down here you could mistake for a standing dead. It doesn't look much better condition, but there is still life coming out of it. And as you look up through, you can just start to see bits of green coming out. So you have to be a little bit clued up what you're doing. Just don't think something is standing dead. Make sure it definitely is before you decide that you're going to take it. Right, I've got a lovely straight piece of wood here. It goes right the way down through to a nice size down the bottom there. But this actually might not look it, but it's actually a fair weight. I put my fist there, And you can see that goes all the way up there and for about 20 meters down there. That's a lot of weight. So at the top end, it's easy. I can get my fist that way. This is a fair little log. You wouldn't be unhappy to put something that size in your wood burner, and it goes down to at least that tree over there. That's a lot of weight. If you're lifting it manually, this end, it really is heavy, and obviously you're dragging it from all that end up there. You're carrying a lot of weight, and you're actually having to manually lift as well as drag. I'm going to go to the other end because obviously it's the lightest end to lift, and I'm going to drag it, keeping the heavy end on the ground. I've shown you this piece of string, and it's the simplest bushcraft tool that you can have or make yourself. We've got a lot of aircraft activity overhead today, but in any case, I'm coming up here, and what I'm going to do is quite simply place this piece of string or rope around it like that, reach in through the loop, and as you can see, it locks and bites in like that. It's not too long. You can actually get a piece of plastic pipe and put in between there to create a more comfortable handle. But what we're going to do, if you have a look, I'm going to lift. It's a lot easier to lift like this. Then I'm just basically going to drag, and you can see that's slipped over and it's provided a nice biting knot, and all I'm going to do is just pull it in this fashion, and it's a lot easier than lifting the heavy end, and there's less chance of causing myself an injury. See? So basically what's happening is the heavy end is sitting on the floor. It does require you to drag it and do some manual work, but it's a lot easier doing it like this than using the heaviest end. I'm not trying to teach people to suck eggs. I'm just saying that if you're going to do something similar, a piece of string fashioned in a loop, I will probably put a piece of plastic pipe to create a better handle. Just lift up the lightest end, put it round like this. You have a handle and it's easy to grab. You're not in no danger of getting splinters. It's just a lot better all the way round, and it's the simplest bushcraft tool that you can carry with you if you're planning on moving bits of wood or timber around your basic bushcraft camp. So let me get this up. My initial thoughts on this one was it's standing dead and it would be okay, but as you can see, it's just punk wood halfway up. I mean, a lot of the stuff I've collected is half rotten, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm not looking at living in it for like 40 years. But when you give something a wobble like this to check, just be careful. As you can see, oh, and another one's just come down there. Always keep an eye on what's happening above you. It's no fun if something falls on you. Think safety. Right, I got these two side by side, and as you can see, they're totally dead. There's nothing coming off them. That's looking really rotten. I don't want to touch those. I've got a feeling if I started to cut, something could snap halfway off and come down on me. Yeah, nice bits of wood, but I think they're going to stay where they are. It's a nice straight standing dead one there, but that's just beyond what my saw could take, and that's beyond what I'd even want to carry. So you have to be a bit sensible about what you're doing here and what you're prepared to take. Don't cut it down if you don't need to. That is standing dead, but it's pointless putting cut marks in it and realizing you can't take it. Then you leave a standing dead in an even more precarious and dangerous situation than it already is. Crazy, isn't it? I'm in this complete forest and I can't find that one last piece of wood that I want to take back. I could call it a day. I've got enough there to build a frame, but I just want one more. And I'm surrounded by all this, and quite a lot of it standing dead, and I can't find that one piece. That is absolutely crazy. Right, I'm going to put my glasses on, and if I put my glasses on, I'm getting serious. Right, I've just come across this one. This one's standing dead, and about the size that I can cope with. Let's see. See what I mean about stuff coming down? Give it a wobble. Always look after yourself, guys. Yeah, I'm going to take this one. Well, there you go. A bit of a fail on this one. Cut it, and when it went down, it broke its back there. At the top it broke. It snapped itself, and as you can see, it then came back around again. Yeah, when you're dealing with standing dead, sometimes you don't always know what you're getting, but obviously that wasn't going to be no good for building. Continue to search. This one's not looking too clever. No, I'll leave that alone. Right then guys, we've got all the material together to build a frame, so I'm very happy with what we've done. We're well ahead of schedule. I did say I wanted to have it built in the summer holidays and do my overnighters, but we're already ahead of the game. We've recce'd the whole area, got the location and got the framework material, so I'm well ahead of the game, so I'm pleased about that. I do have to get off home in a minute. The sun's coming up and my family will want to get out of bed and start making the day happen, so I'll be needed to make that happen at home. You know, that's family life for you, and when you're needed at home to help out and help other people. So yeah, I've got to do that. So I'm going to drink my coffee, finish my biscuits. But just like to touch on the subject, there seems to be a lot of pushback on bushcraft shelters at the moment in the wild camping and bushcrafting community. Quite simply, a lot of stick shelters are being thrown up everywhere, and along with it comes man-made mess, fire pits, you know, trash being left behind, plastic items being left behind. And that's causing a lot of pushback against it all. So if you're building a bushcraft shelter, do everybody a favour, try not to use man-made items, and anything you use, take it back out with you and try to be a bit stealthy with where you build. I know it's a lot of work to go and get into an area like that, but just don't build it straight in plain view for people to see. And you know, try to be stealthy, leave no trace, as in no plastic, no items, and anything that you don't need, take it back out with you and build your shelter with one big thing in mind: how it's going to go back to nature. If you're not going to smash it down and scatter it on the forest floor in a manner that, you know, nobody can see what was there or how it was there, bear one thing in mind: it has to be able to degrade quickly and degrade in a manner where there's nothing but natural items left behind, basically wood, moss, and basically any cordage that you use. Don't use man-made paracord and things like that. That sticks around forever. If you've been to a military training area, you can find paracord that's been there for years. In fact, I've got a clothesline that I put up years ago with paracord, and even though that's in full view of the sun, it's still there and we're still using it. So paracord sticks around. Use cordage, which will rot down as well alongside everything. But yeah, always remember what you're doing and think about the consequences of where you're building, because there's enough people trying to shut down bushcraft shelter building as it is. So, you know, and that's within the wild camping and bushcrafting community themselves. So, you know, it's starting to get a bit out of hand, all the rubbish that's being left behind when these shelters are being built. So bear that in mind. But in any case, I'm going to drink this up, I'm going to pack up, and yeah, I'm going to extract myself out of here. It's been a very productive few hours, but I do need to get home. Right then guys, I'm going to head off out of here. I feel like whispering because it's almost so quiet in here. I'm quite deep into this forest, and there's no sound, there's no birds or nothing. All the wildlife seems to be on the perimeter towards the agricultural land and where the native trees are. This far deep into it, I guess it's because it's a monoculture. There isn't that much of a, well, it doesn't offer much for wildlife, but I really have to strain to hear any noise. It is almost eerily quiet. But without going down that route, it is so peaceful. When I was having my cup of coffee earlier, it was just so peaceful. I was just there thinking to myself, I'm actually having to really concentrate and strain just to try and hear a noise other than the wind in the canopy. But That brings me to the point of safety in the woodlands. You can quite see by me when I was cutting that those standing dead down that, you know, bits were falling off and all sorts like that. You do have to be careful and consider what you're doing out here, and, you know, look after your own well-being and safety. Um, Somewhere like I am here, it's a long way from help if anything went wrong, and it would be quite difficult for people to find you. So yeah, think of your safety when you're out doing anything like this. So yeah, all that's left for me to say now is take care, stay safe, and I hope to catch you guys on the trail.